Once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down. Diddy really...
He's 3 law firms on retainer. I don't know how much money is coming in, but I know that a lot of money is going out every single month for Diddy.
What if I told you Tupac's death wasn't just street violence, but a secret pact between Jay-Z and Diddy? 50 Cent just dropped a bomb that could rewrite hip-hop history, and once you hear this, you'll never look at these moguls the same way again. 50 Cent just dropped a revelation that could rattle the very core of hip-hop's legacy. According to him, Jay-Z was responsible for Shocker's downfall and Diddy played a role in making it happen. That's not casual gossip. It's a direct, explosive claim from an artist who has never been known to bite his tongue. Curtis St. Jackson has always been a figure who thrives on conflict. From his earliest days in the industry, his rise was fueled not only by his music but by his willingness to say what others were too afraid to voice. He has long circled around the industry's biggest power players, tossing sharp barbs at Jay-Z and Diddy, hinting at buried truths, and exposing shadows with the precision of someone who knows the streets as well as the boardroom. For years, fans dismissed these jabs as just part of 50's brand, trolling, showmanship, a way to keep his name buzzing in headlines. But this moment feels different. The way he frames it, the gravity of his words, suggests he isn't just looking for clicks. He's swinging at the foundation of an empire. To accuse Jay-Z and Diddy of orchestrating Tupac Shocker's demise is to aim directly at the roots of East Coast dominance in hip-hop. It isn't just a diss track, it isn't just a joke, it's a claim that rewrites the story of how modern hip-hop power was built. Tupac's death in 1996 has always lived in the fog of conspiracy. A story riddled with unanswered questions, conflicting witness statements, and whispered theories that never made it to courtrooms. The official story has never truly satisfied the people who lived through it. And now, decades later, 50 Cent is dragging that unsolved night back into the spotlight with one of the most shocking accusations yet. That the very men celebrated as moguls, billionaires, and icons may have cemented their status on the back of a tragedy. This is more than just beef. When 50 trolls someone online, the tone is usually playful, dripping with sarcasm. But here, the tone has an edge, a dangerous sharpness that makes even skeptics pause. He isn't talking about failed brands, weak record sales, or embarrassing scandals. He's questioning morality itself. He's suggesting that beneath the glamour, the red carpets, and the billion-dollar businesses, lies a truth too ugly to ignore, that the empires we admire may have been built not on talent or vision alone, but on betrayal, silence, and blood spilled on the Vegas Strip. What makes this even more powerful is the way 50 Cent has always positioned himself as someone who can't be bought, someone outside the system. Unlike many artists who eventually soften their critique once they reach a certain level of wealth or success, 50 has continued to needle, mock, and provoke. It's as if he believes it's his role to stir the pot, to ensure the culture never forgets its darker chapters. He's not afraid to drag Jay-Z's family into the conversation, to lampoon Diddy's infamous parties, or to laugh at court filings that most moguls would beg the media to ignore. To him, nothing is sacred, no one is untouchable, and that's precisely why these accusations land with such weight. Think about the ripple effects. If even a fraction of what 50 Cent is implying were true, it would mean hip-hop history as we know it has been built on a lie. It would mean that the East Coast takeover, the meteoric rise of Rockefeller and Bad Boy, the shift of power away from the West Coast after Shocker's death, all of it was less about music and more about calculated moves made in shadows. That possibility, no matter how outlandish, is what makes 50's words stick. And 50 knows this. He understands the power of suggestion. He understands that in today's world, memes and AI videos can travel faster than any official press release. He knows that every time he drops a one-liner about Jay-Z or a joke about Diddy, it will be dissected, reposted, and speculated on by millions. He thrives in this arena where the court of public opinion is louder, faster, and more unforgiving than any judge or jury. His accusations don't need evidence to cause damage. They just need to sound believable enough to plant seeds of doubt. This is why the conversation is so dangerous for Jay-Z and Diddy. For years, they've worked tirelessly to control their image. Jay-Z positioned himself as the ultimate mogul, a businessman, a family man, a cultural leader. Diddy, despite decades of lawsuits and accusations, managed to keep building, branding himself as a survivor, a visionary. Both men crafted public personas meant to rise above street drama. But 50 Cent is tearing at those images, reminding everyone of the shadows lurking underneath. In the end, whether or not 50 truly has receipts may not even matter. His reputation as a truth-teller mixed with a provocateur gives his words weight. People want to believe he knows more than he says. And that's the real danger, because once the seed of suspicion is planted, it doesn't go away. It grows, it spreads, and it forces us to question everything we thought we knew about hip-hop's greatest moguls. This is why his latest revelation feels like more than trolling. It feels like a warning shot, an indication that beneath the glitz of hip-hop's billion-dollar empire lies a truth no one wants to speak out loud. Except 50 Cent.
People thought that he was just joking around. It turns out he's not, so this is actually a real project that's being made under his G-Unit.
50 Cent's feud with Jay-Z and Diddy isn't some passing rivalry, it's practically a lifelong campaign. Forget champagne sponsorships or petty Instagram shade. His hostility toward them has hardened into something closer to a crusade. The tension runs so deep, it makes legendary family feuds look like minor squabbles over borrowed tools. Whenever Diddy's name surfaces in a federal probe, 50 is the first one on the scene, smirking, taunting, and hinting that he's sitting on even more damning evidence. And when Jay-Z stumbles into controversy, 50 doesn't miss his cue. He floods social media with cutting remarks, lampooning red carpet appearances, mocking family photos, or flat out suggesting Jay is concealing secrets that no verse could ever confess. His recent jab, "They said I rocked a kid, everybody get dressed. We going to see Mufasa," briefly appeared online after the latest lawsuit, only to vanish quickly. But as the saying goes, once it's out there, you can't rewind. On 50's world, moguls don't wear halos, they play villains. And lately, he's stopped treating Jay-Z and Diddy as mere punchlines. He's portraying them as the dark architects of an entire generation's story. His most chilling allegation, that their pursuit of wealth, influence, and survival crossed lines so severe, Tupac Shakur himself became the ultimate casualty. The theory centers on what 50% calls the Vegas Pact, a shadowy deal whispered to have unfolded in luxury suites above the neon strip. Picture the scene. The industry is boiling. Shakur is threatening to go public not just with street-level drama, but with revelations big enough to topple labels and drag executives into court. Jay-Z, still clawing his way to the top, can't afford a collapse. Diddy, forever strategic, needs his own skeletons to stay buried. So, as the story goes, the two men meet quietly, guarded by handlers and hushed voices, and decide that Shakur is a risk the industry simply can't survive.
Jay-Z got his ass whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got his ass. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
No, there's no tape of Jay-Z and Diddy sliding briefcases of cash across a Vegas suite table. But talk to enough people in the industry, and they'll tell you the legend of that meeting endures for a reason. Tupac's death has never sat comfortably as just another drive-by. Too many loose ends. Too many voices that went silent at the wrong time. Even Suge Knight Hardley, a stranger to conspiracy, once told TMZ, "Why you think nobody been arrested? If they said they, the one that did it, because Shakur, not gone. If he was, they'd be arresting those dudes for doing it." That's the curse of secrets in hip-hop. They don't disappear. They just pass from one set of hands to another. And 50 Cent has made it his mission to keep this one alive. His attacks on Jay-Z and Diddy aren't casual trolling. They're methodical, almost prosecutorial. Every scandal becomes a puzzle piece. Every headline folded into his larger accusation. When Jay-Z turned up stone-faced beside Beyoncé at their daughter's Lion King premiere, 50 was quick to circle overhead, mocking the scene like a predator biding its time. When new assault allegations landed, he escalated, mocking Jay for playing family man at Disney while, in 50's eyes, avoiding accountability. And Diddy, every time the mogul is dragged into court or confronted with fresh accusations about his infamous parties, 50 floods. Instagram with AI-edited arrest, skit set to sound of DA police, turning legal drama into viral theater. He's made it into a recurring series. Part documentary, part public shaming, part performance art. And if you ask his followers, this isn't the finale, it's just the opening act.
Although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic.
It's easy to dismiss all of this as nothing more than a grudge match, two egos locked in a feud too massive to coexist. For years, critics have waved off 50 Cent's trolling as little more than entertainment. A way to keep his name trending in an industry obsessed with spectacle. But the longer you look, the harder it is to laugh it away. With every meme, every AI parody, every suddenly deleted post, 50 Cent digs his narrative deeper. He isn't just joking around anymore, he's constructing a picture piece by piece, shade by shade that paints Jay-Z and Diddy as something far more sinister than misunderstood legends. In his framing, they are not victims of gossip but architects of corruption, men who would trample over anyone to secure their crowns, even if it meant rewriting hip-hop history itself. Diddy, more than anyone, has become the center of that storm. For decades, his empire has lived under the weight of lawsuits, allegations, and whispered rumors about what really went on behind closed doors. Racketeering, trafficking, the infamous freak-off, parties allegedly orchestrated with military-like precision. These aren't just tabloid headlines. They are accusations serious enough to draw the attention of Homeland Security, who raided his mansions with the kind of force usually reserved for cartel bosses. The surreal detail of 1,000 bottles of baby oil made it onto news tickers around the world, transforming an already grim situation into something almost grotesque in its absurdity. And right there on the sidelines, almost gleeful, was 50 Cent. He mocked the spectacle with a smirk sharp enough to cut through the chaos. Here I am keeping good company with Drew Barrymore, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house. The internet lit up, not just at the joke but at the way he delivered it, mocking merciless, as though he was already storyboarding the next act of this ongoing saga. You could practically picture him rubbing his hands together, sharpening the script for his next episode, ready to turn real-world legal fallout into another viral moment. But Jay-Z hasn't escaped the fire either. If anything, the scrutiny on him feels more personal. The latest lawsuit didn't just target him, it dragged his entire family into the spotlight. It painted headlines not only with his name but with the faces of Beyoncé and their daughter, transforming what might have been a private legal battle into a public family crisis. Jay-Z insists he's the victim of an elaborate shakedown, led by attorney Tony Busby. In a statement, he framed the lawsuit as a cynical calculation designed to pressure him into settling. What he calculated was the nature of these allegations, and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No sir, it had the opposite effect. That's his official stance, crisp and lawyered up. But outside the courtroom, the whispers refused to quiet. Every blog, every gossip site, every anonymous industry insider fuels the story further, feeding the beast of speculation that no press release can tame. And that's where Beyoncé enters the picture, not as a background figure, but as a force shaping the family's response. Sources close to the Carters suggest that she has been urging Jay-Z not to hide, not to bury the problem with settlements or silence, but to confront the storm head-on. It's a strategy that feels calculated, almost regal, befitting the image of a couple that has built themselves into modern royalty. Yet it's also deeply personal. Blue Ivy, their eldest daughter, is no longer a child shielded from the noise. She's old enough to read headlines, scroll timelines, and understand what's being said. Every lawsuit, every meme, every accusation doesn't just land on Jay-Z, it lands on his family. If Jay-Z once believed that money could buy silence, or that power could bury scandals, the digital age has proven otherwise. Scandals today don't fade, they multiply. A deleted post only sparks more screenshots. A rumor squashed in one outlet resurfaces in 10 others. Social media thrives on repetition, on remixing the narrative until it takes on a life of its own. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous for both Jay-Z and Diddy. They're not fighting battles in courtrooms anymore, they're fighting in the court of public opinion, where the rules are brutal, the attention span is short, and the crowd always wants the next twist. For 50 Cent, that's the perfect battlefield. He doesn't need hard evidence, he doesn't need a legal victory, all he needs is doubt, a seed planted in the minds of millions. Watered with memes, fed with AI videos, and fertilized by timing so sharp it feels surgical. To him, every scandal is content, every legal filing a storyline, every denial an invitation to push harder. And that's the nightmare scenario for the Carters. Because once the internet decides to believe a story, it doesn't matter how many lawyers write statements or how many times Jay-Z swears his innocence, the narrative takes on its own momentum. And in that world, 50 Cent is the one holding the steering wheel.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their...
Through all of this, 50 Cent keeps tossing more matches into the blaze. His taunts have become unnervingly precise. So much so that fans split between thinking he actually holds incriminating proof and thinking he's simply the world's best distraction artist. He's playing the chaos game part showman, part provocateur, announcing a documentary on Diddy's alleged crimes, posting court screenshots, and dangling cash for tapes that would prove his story. Even the AI arrest clip, half a joke, half an intimidation tactic, lands like a boast. Want to post this? But I'm afraid I'm going to get shot, is the kind of offhand line he drops, laughing on the surface, but always hinting at danger underneath. This feud isn't new, it's escalated. For decades 50 has lobbed accusations at Diddy, questioned the fate of people who got too close to power, and ridiculed the notorious parties that became part of the gossip cycle. When Diddy's ex Cassie sued or Homeland Security searched his homes, 50 treated the moments like punchlines and business opportunities, joking about buying the evidence, turning legal spectacle into commerce and humiliation. In 50's universe, even a deal can double as a take. He sells the joke and the accusation at the same time, and his audience keeps watching.
But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past.
At this stage, the battle isn't just about reputations or record sales. With the unsolved shadow of Tupac's murder still hanging heavy, the rumors have sharpened into something darker. Was his death really just West Coast versus East Coast? Or was it a calculated move by moguls desperate to bury their secrets? Vegas meetings, cash exchanges, whispered threats in hotel suites. The theories swirl endlessly. Each new headline seems to breathe life back into the suspicions. The arrest of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Fresh transcripts from court. Another wrinkle in the endless Biggie Tupac saga. And every time, 50 Cent seizes the moment, reminding his audience that, in his view, this has always been hip-hop's worst-kept secret. Official narratives may try to tie the story up neatly, but in the court of public opinion, the case remains wide open, and that's the real danger for Jay-Z and Diddy. Legal systems move slow. Gossip spreads at the speed of scandal. 50 knows how to fuel both. And he's unafraid to blur fact and fiction until no one knows where one ends and the other begins. Each meme becomes a warning shot. Each deleted post, a clue. Each accusation, another layer of doubt. Maybe they crossed lines no one should. Or maybe 50's trolling is just that, trolling. But the possibility that he knows more than he lets on is what keeps people watching. And then comes the twist. Beyoncé. As the spotlight widens from Diddy to Jay-Z, whispers suggest the Carters themselves may be cracking under the weight. Insiders say tension in the household is sharp enough to slice glass. After years of surviving cheating scandals, betrayals, and relentless press, this storm may finally be the one that threatens their billion-dollar empire. According to rumors, Beyoncé has drawn a line in private. Diddy goes, or our legacy does. And who could blame her? With lawsuits piling up around Diddy, from trafficking claims to infamous party scandals, the risks to the Carter empire have never been greater. So when Jay-Z lawyers filed motions trying to separate his name from Diddy's, was it simply legal strategy, or Beyoncé pulling the strings, steering her husband away from the fire? Some insiders describe her team treating the fallout as a full-blown crisis operation. Forget the old tabloid tropes of lemonade and forgiveness. This is chess at the highest level. Sources whisper that Beyoncé is determined for the family to face the storm head-on. Their daughter, Blue Ivy, no longer shielded, stood alongside her parents on the red carpet, quietly absorbing the weight of the headlines. Behind the designer gowns and practiced smiles, the message was clear: Beyoncé isn't just by Jay-Z's side, she's controlling the board. Meanwhile, the tornado around Diddy keeps growing. Whatever loyalty once linked him and Jay-Z now seems frayed beyond repair. Jay-Z's attorneys are demanding sanctions against the lawyers driving the case, calling it nothing more than blackmail. At the same time, Beyoncé's team is said to be working with crisis specialists, strategizing every step to protect the Carter brand. For Jay-Z, each court filing now feels like a move in a larger game, and in public, the distance between him and Diddy has never looked wider.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by...
As the Carters work to firewall their legacy, the shadow of Tupac's final night only grows larger. The more you pull at the threads, the more the official narrative phrase, his shooting in Las Vegas, has always been packaged as a simple act of coastal rivalry. But pause and replay the tape. It's 1996. Shocker sits on the throne of hip-hop. But enemies lurk everywhere, not only in the streets, but within the business itself. Hours after a fight in the MGM Grand, he's riddled with bullets at a red light. Suge Knight, expected by many to be a second target, escapes with scratches. The gunman fades into the desert night. What remains is silence, suspicion, and a legacy of unanswered questions. The coincidences pile high. Witnesses suddenly forget. Records vanish. Those who threatened to release new evidence, like bodyguard Michael Nice, who once claimed Shocker escaped to Cuba, conveniently disappear before they can testify. The official line blames the Crips, bolstered by Dwayne "Keefy" Davis's confession that Diddy once offered $1 million bounty. But every documentary spawns new theories. Was Vegas chaos a coincidence, or a carefully staged cover-up? And who benefited most? After that night, Jay-Z's star rockets upward. Diddy's bad boy empire thrives, powered by Biggie's tragic end. Months later, the moguls become untouchable. While rivals fade, whispers of the Vegas Pact refuse to die. Some claim an off-the-books meeting where powerful executives decided Shocker was too dangerous to survive, or, depending on which rumor mill you spin, too valuable to remain in America. Either way, the suggestion is chilling. Jay-Z and Diddy weren't passive witnesses to history, but architects of it. Why was the shooter never confirmed? Why did Keefy stay silent for decades, only speaking once key players were gone? Why do autopsy discrepancies and whispered sightings in Cuba still fuel the fire? Conspiracies stack like bricks in a wall. Into that fog, 50 Cent hurls his boldest accusations yet. After years of mocking Diddy's parties and Jay-Z's empire, he now casts himself as hip-hop's unlikely whistleblower. His memes, his leaked documents, his AI arrest videos, they're less about comedy now, more about rewriting the narrative. And it works. His AI video of Jay-Z and Diddy in handcuffs racks up millions of views. His teased documentary on Diddy's scandals promises even darker revelations. Each deleted post becomes fuel for conspiracy theorists who already see 50 as the one brave enough to say the quiet part out loud. The courtroom may be where lawyers fight, but the court of public opinion, that's where 50 reigns. The bigger question lingers like smoke. Were the last 30 years of hip-hop shaped purely by talent, or by deals made behind hotel doors and armored SUVs? Is Beyoncé the only force capable of steering this ship away from collapse, or just the last one trying to keep the skeletons buried? If even fragments of 50's allegations are true about Diddy's darkest crimes, about Jay-Z's complicity, about the real fate of Shocker, then hip-hop's history books may need to be rewritten. And maybe that's why his trolling feels different now. It isn't just entertainment, it's a dare. Either 50 Cent is playing the greatest game of misdirection the culture has ever seen, or he knows more than anyone wants to admit. One thing's certain: this story is nowhere near finished. So what do you believe? Is 50 the lone voice dragging buried secrets into the light, or just a master of chaos pulling strings for his own amusement? Drop your wildest theories in the comments. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind wider. In this world, nobody is untouchable.